morning. Good morning, Facebook people and everybody else who's going to be watching this on our website. We're grateful, of course, for everybody. And so I had a really cute graphic that is sleeping this morning. And the graphic was of Mickey Mouse and Winnie the Pooh. And it was winter. And Mickey, had on his leggings, his black leggings, right? But he had on like a romper that was red. And he saw that Pooh, who was unclothed, was chilly. So he looks at him, and then he takes out a handy pair of scissors and cuts off the top of his romper and puts it on Pooh. And so when you see Pooh in a red shirt, yes, that comes to like here, and then you see Mickey only in his bottoms, it's because they shared one outfit. We don't worry about the size or anything like that. So that was the cute little graphic that we used. So we're going to have a little bit of a different service today. I'm using two great books. Actually, I've been unpacking, as you all know. And so I don't know if any of you have ever seen this little packet. It's called The Foundations of Unity. And so hold on as I keep finding new things to talk about. So these were the series that they would send you when you did the correspondence classes back in the day before you went to ministerial school. So I'm using that, and then the other great book by Emily Cady, How I Used Truth. And what we're going to talk about this month, we know February is known for love, yes. We also know that it's known for our nonviolence through Gandhi and through King, and random acts of kindness, right? So our mission here, because we're a mission-driven ministry, which in the lingo of ministers is called mission-centric, which means it's not my way or the board's way, it's all of ours way. And so how do we live into our mission, which we read earlier, yes, to deepen our connection with God, self, and others. So how do we do that? Because to have a mission is great. How do we live it? And that's the next step in ministry that we're learning each time I go to one of these little getaways. How can we be living a mission that we all have decided was the mission? Because remember, you all did that before I even got here. And part of my working with David Krieger and the board was, can I live into that mission? Absolutely. To deepen my connection with God, self, and each other, of course. Not a bad one. If we all had that, that would be great. And I talked earlier about Unity and Unity of Hilton Head and this service being participatory. And that's what Unity really is all about. It's not really a religion. We've talked about this before. It's a movement. And with movement means what? Movement. I told you it's going to be a little kind of a different kind of service today. And so it's not about just coming on Sunday to hear a great message, hear great music, come and get some really good food. Yes, do all of that. And then I hope you go away walking and talking. The mission, the vision, whatever else, a little crumble of something, or as my friend calls Michael's golden nuggets. So can you take away a nugget and go forward and be that in the world? Because that's the difference between us and a lot of other mainline religions that come and they talk to you about what it is you're supposed to do. We hope to inspire you, and then you figure out, how's that going to fit today? How am I going to wear that today, so to speak? And it comes alive. That's why I chose our affirmation about being alive, awake, and alert. Because you can be alive. We're all alive. We're here, obviously. Some of us are breathing without oxygen, yes. And then we could be awake, I guess, because it's sunny out. But are you really awake? And are you alert? If you want to be striving to be something, be alert, because it helps us understand, I'm noticing. And so what I'm hoping to invoke in you today is what Albert Einstein calls holy curiosity. Question everything. And of course, my grandbabies love that I tell them that. Their parents, not so much. And I also tell it to my nieces and nephews. Because when we're curious, then we're walking our talk. And it helps us then get the word of unity out. Have you noticed in the news when you do listen to it, and I usually do that by radio so I don't have to see faces. They're talking a lot about unity. The word unity is all over the place. So why not capitalize on it, yes? So you'll be seeing more things that come out from Unity World Headquarters as far as what we call them memes, and they're pictures with words on them. Spread them on Facebook, talk about them, and know that as we are it, we have an influence on others. There's a great prayer that I pray that came out of the Congo. I don't know who the author was. And the gentleman that wrote it said, "Dear God, you be the needle and I will be the thread. You go first and I will follow wherever you lead." Those of us, I pretend to be a seamstress, only when there's an emergency, right? But we know what that means, right? So you have to follow the needle or otherwise you're never going to mend anything, yes? The other scripture that I love is from Malachi chapter 3, verses 9 and 10. And it talks really in three simple words: prove me now. And that's God in the scripture telling us, you know what? Prove me. Just have me follow me, we also follow Jesus here, yes, but some of you may or may not, whatever you want to do, follow something and follow your heart first and foremost, yes? And so if we follow and we follow a lead, like the needle and the thread, then possibly what's going to happen is a little bit of an eruption in your life because your words are matching your walk and your talk matches everything that you're doing, your actions. So we have to listen first, don't we? So we can understand what we're supposed to be following, yes? And then asking. I'm a big question person. Didn't go over real well when I was a child, but it's serving me really well because I work Byron Katie's work, yes? And so always, what's the question? Why am I having that thought? What's happening? What? And so my mantra is, I will to will the will of God, which means Therese and the personality of Therese has to step aside so that we can have the individuality of Therese show up. We talked about that this week in Course of Miracles. And it's a concept that sometimes is not quite understood until you really understand metaphysics. The personality of us shows up without prayer, with attitudes and all of those things. When we are in our individuality, we're prayed up and we're here to be God expressing in the world. It represents the I in I am. So we get to know, we get to question it, and then we know it, and then we question it, and then we know it, and we question it over and over and over, whatever all that is. Reminding ourselves, prove me now. And so today we're going to invite you to breathe a lot, to know that we know what we're doing as a board and making a decision to share, and also that maybe you're going to proceed, Fillmore says, or succeed, or supplant, or happen, or emanate, or arise, or model after, comply with, be guided by, to echo, to duplicate, to comprehend, and to understand. So if we're a living example, then our attitudes are contagious, and those are the ones we want to spread, yes? We always say that. Attitudes are contagious, is yours worth catching? And that's up to you, right? And you'll know if they're not, because all of a sudden, there's a lot of space around you, yeah? And so in How I Use Truth, Katie says, and Katie was the teacher about the same time as the Fillmores were and all of that, and she talks about consecrating our hands. And this is what she says on page 64. Our part is to pass out the good gift freely and without ceasing. Now, is she talking about physical things? Is she talking about prayer? The answer is always yes. Depends, right? Where we're coming from. This, she said, we can do only by making a complete consecration, so far as our consciousness goes, right? On our hands, on our entire being, to the service of God and all that is well in the world. So we always say in Unity that we are for things. We're never against things. And so you'll see there's a statement of peace. There's not one against war. We have one about inclusion, not about why we should be inclusive. So if we're being it, then that's what I think Emily is saying here. Making a complete consecration of our hands and our entire being. She also goes on to say, on page 67, "Prove me now, said the Lord of hosts. If I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing." So if we follow our hearts and we do what we think we've come here to do and be who we've come here to be, guess what's going to happen? All sorts of showers of things happening to us. Prove me now herewith, if I will not open you the windows of heaven. And where is heaven? Right here, right now. Who else has been to hell? Yeah? So in Unity, we believe that it's a state of consciousness and a place where love is absent. Course of Miracles tells us everything is either an act of love or a call for love. And so when there's hell-ish moments in our life, it means, maybe we need to shift our energy. Let's drop the maybe. We need to shift our energy and shift our consciousness. And so we're going to talk a little bit about giving and receiving. Who here likes to receive? Raise your hands high, because you can't get anything if you don't say yes and if you aren't willing, right? The other way is also about giving. And so I want to talk a little bit about what Fillmore says. Giving first takes place in spirit as a good idea seeking expression. So when I talked to the board about what we're going to do today, I didn't use these words, but that's what I meant. Or at least that's what they thought I meant, yes? And so can we, first, just like us, and we talked about this when we were in Rabbi Boone's class, understanding what it is to be a Jewish person and what is Judaism. So in the traditional churches, the mainline churches, not Judaism, there's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, right? And so what I said is we have mind, idea, expression. So mind is the mind of God. Idea is you and me. God ideated us so we could be here. And guess what? We get that then express God out there. So first, it's an idea. I just love this stuff. So giving is the gift of the Creator's own spirit to the created. This is the first giving. Many of you are volunteers here. You come, you do. We recognize you, we don't recognize you, doesn't matter, you keep showing up, right? And Pat comes and says, I'm ready to do the PowerPoint. And I said, yeah, so is everybody else willing to receive it? It's having a little nap, right? So as we follow through spiritual inspiration, then we're able to move forward in the way we're being directed, because we don't should on each other in unity, and we give and we receive and we give and we receive. You came in this morning and you received hellos, yes? Right? And whether you know it or not, you are giving us energy, which is for me a great thing, because it then pumps me up to be able to do this. Because there is a shy part of Teresa. I know y'all might not believe that. There is that questioning. Sometimes the questioning isn't always a good thing, yes? So can we claim our good? Do we know that all of everything in our life is good? Because that's what happens when we change our mind. So God is our supplier, our source. And the thing that Emily talks about in here is about all sufficiency. And I remember I talked about this with some other people here, and they're like, well, does that mean we don't need God? Well, God is us, as us, and through us. All we have to remember is to bring God forth through us and as us and is us. So there's really no needs except for shelter and food from a materialistic human sense. Everything else is provided for us through the truth of who we are. If we and as we remember to call it forth. So everybody breathe. And how do we know it? because we're born in the image and after the likeness of God, which means we're all sufficient. It's not about the ego at all. And the consciousness then that we keep developing so we can be that in the world. The love, the power, the strength, the will, the imagination, the 12 power prayer that we pray. I also believe that to believe in all sufficiency, it takes our faith. And I have been one who has faithed it till I made it. Yes? And so what we're going to do today is a little bit of giving in a way that we haven't done, at least in almost the 24 months that I've been here. And so I'm going to ask Marie and Barbara to come forward, please. I'm going to give you both of them. And they're going to stand right in front of here. And I'm going to talk for a little bit and everybody's like, what's in there? What's in there? So know that when I had this idea with the board, Marie and Barbara said, well, why don't we use some ribbons involved in this? And so what we know is every time we tie something up nicely and neatly, it's blessed with love. We had a pretty fabulous last year financially, and we've already had a great year this year. And so one of the things that my custom is in February then is to give back to everybody. Everybody breathe. And so you're going to be receiving a gift, a monetary gift today. You're going to come up and receive it, and Marie and Barbara will bless you as you receive it. And I want to talk a little bit about it because some of the challenges that I've received is, well, but wait a minute. We still have bills to pay. So every month, I think I told you part of my reason when I was hired was that we would be tithing as a congregation, right? Giving back 10% to where we are fed from. So I've been here now 22 months. And we've been receiving. We give a little here and there. So you're going to receive this. We're going to sing the song that we sing when we're prayer chaplains, which is, Here I Am, Lord, It Is I, Lord, just the choir, just the chorus part of it. So those of you who know it will sing it. And what I know to be true is that we can never outgive God, ever. So every time I go to Goodwill and I give them my gifts and they're like, would you like a receipt? I said, I'm still trying to outgive God. And the person always laughs. And then they're like, you can see their brain going, wait, what? So the invite for you all today is to receive this $10 and see how it is that you might multiply it, you may divide it, you may times it, whatever all the words might be, to pay it forward. And as you do that, and if it includes paying it forward, meaning it takes you somewhere by yourself to have a chocolate milkshake, do it. We don't have any rules, but I would love that you would come back and say, so I took this $10 and I gave it to the guy on the street, or I paid for the person's coffee in front of me, or I paid for the dry cleaning. Well, you probably couldn't pay for the dry cleaning behind you, but things like that. So the challenge is for you, the opportunity, first of all, that you're going to receive and know you're worthy to receive, to be blessed by our two board president and vice president. And then, how will I? How will I? What is God wanting me to do with this? Because it's random acts of kindness for the rest of the month. How will you do this? You may take $10 and singly hand them out. And I bet you every time you offer something, someone will be like, oh, no, I got it. You don't have to pay for me. So be aware. Can you receive, first of all today, with grace? Know that we're only spending this money out of the 10% that we tithe every month. We're not going into debt for it. And one of the things that we've talked about on the board as well was, because we had to borrow money last year, remember, from our savings. And so someone said, well, why are we borrowing money, or why are we tithing if we're borrowing money? I said, imagine how much money we would have had to have borrowed if we had not tithed. And so you might ask, well, how do you really know this works, Reverend Therese? And so some of you know this and some of you don't. But after my husband passed away, I had $5,000 to my name and a house that I had to put into foreclosure. And while the house went into foreclosure, Freddie Mac decided it wanted it sooner than later, and it trashed out and rekeyed the house and took everything that I owned. And I have been living on air, and therefore the grace of God, for 7 years next week. So I know that when I believe, and when I see, and when I accept and receive, God is always right there. My hands are consecrated. I give and I receive. So when you come up, I want you to put out your left hand and receive what it is, the gift that you're giving, that being given, because the left is what we receive on and the right is what we give on. So you'll often see ministers or clergy doing this on the pulpit, and that's what it is. I'm giving and I'm receiving all the time. So let's start our song. You're going to come up one by one, and you can see that we have 2 lines and then go around the outside. You can see we cleared up all of this over here. Every single person who is here today has to come forward. If you can't come forward, we'll bring it to you. We're going to do it in silence. Go ahead and form some lines. You're receiving with your left hand, and we're singing, Here I Am, Lord. Here I am, Lord. It is I, Lord. I have heard in the night. I will go, Lord, as you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart. Here I am, Lord. It is I, Lord. I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, as you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart. Everybody who knows it, please sing. Here I am, Lord. It is I, Lord. I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, as you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart. Let's say those words again. I'll speak the words and then sing them. All right? So here I am, Lord. It is I, Lord. She has one.
Okay.
Here I am, Lord. It is I, Lord. I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, as you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart. So this doesn't mean you're going to go proselytize on the street corner, and you may. Whatever works for you. Get yourself a little box, whatever. Get a microphone. But take these words and understand them. This is the call of us. This is what Paul wrote about when we were going to be the church. Yes? So let's sing it again. Here I am, Lord. It is I, Lord. I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, as you lead me. I will hold right, everybody at home, I haven't approved this by the board yet. However, if you feel like you're going to be able to do something with $10, you email me and I will send you $10. And if you need the $10, email me and we'll send you the $10. Because we know sometimes there are basic needs, yes? So I've been at the point where I was refused food stamps. I was at the place where as Carolyn knows, I stayed with her for a year, right? Renting a bath and a room. And so people will say, you know, were you mad at God? And I'm like, well, God has nothing to do with my situation. It has to do with my attitude. And was I pretty as a new widow? No. Was I angry? Yes. Was I angry for a while? Yes. Was I always angry? No. Yes? And so this is life. It happens. And so you know that when you decide to walk the path of God, that you find those that will walk it with you, that will call you higher, that will say, okay, I'm here. I've got you. Yes? I remember the first time somebody at Unity Village Chapel called me up and said, please use me. And I said, what? And she said, please use me. I said, I don't know what it means. And she said, I'll be right over. And so how can we help each other? How do we help each other? And I can't wait to hear the stories about how you've used your $10 the most creatively. And there's not a contest and there's no winner. I want to hear the stories, right? And whatever it is, I decided to just put it in the bank, Therese, right? We know the story of the talents and all of that. So you get to decide. You get to decide. How much time every day do you spend listening for the whispers? How much time every day do you say, hey, I'm ready to receive? And when you do, it starts coming. So I've already told you that this was the year of being back in touch with people, being back in feeding Therese, yes, in addition to y'all. And so I got the call from my nephew, and then I got the call from my niece. And this morning, I got an email from somebody that I met the very first time I walked on Unity's grounds. And his name was Gardner. His name is Gardner. And here's an email this morning at O Dark 100. I was on Facebook, and I saw, and I realized how much I missed you. Because we worked together at Silent Unity and World Day of Prayer and all of those things. And when they kept right-sizing at Unity, he was one of the people that was right-sized, yes, not knowing, how am I going to live? Literally, did not know how he was going to live. And remember, we have to be conscious and aware of what we pray for. And within several weeks, his dad passed. And his dad was a multi-millionaire. And he inherited. He was the only brother alive. And he lives a really good life now. But I remember sitting with him in Silent Unity Chapel, wondering, because of course I was working and Tom was working and God's our source and all of that, yes? And here was a guy who gave so much and didn't know how he was going to live. Didn't want his dad to die, right? We don't want that to happen. But he also didn't know what he was going to inherit for whatever reason. He just, yeah, dad has some money, but like, that much money, right? So he keeps giving back. And he said, when I saw on Facebook the other day, I posted on my own page. I'm a little bit more free on my own page. And it was a section of the wine aisle. And above it, it said water. And the meme line was, Jesus was here. And it's a real picture of some store that has water up above it. It's nothing but, rows and rows of wine. And so someone decided to create a funny and said Jesus was here. If the story's true, we don't even know, was it true, right? But can we believe it? So there's a guy named William Clow back in 1934 or something like that. I'm finding so many things that you can have reference to. You must have what you would bestow, he says. You must be what you would have others become. And so this is what we get to do. We get to figure out what sources are we going to use for our material. One of the things Katie says is giving is the natural outflow of love. So we didn't say those words, did we, Marie and Barbara? We love you. We appreciate you. And we behold the Christ that's in each and every one of you, the light that's in you. And know that. Because that's what makes Unity of Hilton Head a little bit different than other places. And so let's close our outer eyes and make a time for meditation and knowing that you all matter. That we are not Unity of Hilton Head if you're not included. And this group today will never be assembled in the same way. And so it's even more special that we get to share this bestowing of our greatness and our goodness that's today showing up as $10 bills with you all. Next week, some of you will be here and there'll be other people who are back. Some people are at home today. I got emails. And so prove us now that you're willing to receive, that you're worthy to receive, and sit with it. And then say, how is it that I'm going to be God expressing in this world? And how the heck is this $10 going to be involved? And again, if it's honoring who you are, honor yourself. If there's a favorite chocolate bar you haven't gotten, go get it. And enjoy it and know that this is a microcosm of what really is the world when we live, knowing that there's always enough and that God is our source. We breathe into this knowing. No matter the diagnosis we received or didn't receive, God's our source. Healing and wholeness comes through knowing. And if I could give you cures wrapped up in bows, that would be our gift. But instead, those come wrapped in prayers. And we sit, the prayer chaplains and I and the prayer team, with your names each week and know the shift in consciousness for each of you, because God knows what it is you've asked for in prayer. And so we're going to prepare now for a time of quiet. Let a smile come to your face because you are worth it. And you make us Unity of Hilton Head in this now moment. With hearts full of gratitude in the silence. Let a smile come to your face as you hear the laughter in the other room. And as you keep your eyes closed, there's another poem that was written. If God can hang the stars on high, can paint the clouds that drift on by, can send the sun across the sky, what could God do through you? If God can send a storm through space and dot the trees and freckles on face, if God the sparrow's way can trace, what could God do through you? If God can do such little things as count the hairs on your head, or give the wind beneath the bird's wings, and control the universe that swings. What could God do through you? And so we breathe into this knowing, as it tells us in Acts chapter 17, verse 28, that God lives and moves and has its being through us. And if you didn't hear me the first time, on behalf of the board and myself, we love you and we appreciate you. And we behold the Christ and the light of the world as you. We breathe into this knowing, we accept it to be the truth of who each of us is. And we breathe in again. Yeah, you're a pretty big deal. And so it is, we let it be. And we move right into our contemplative time of preparing our love offerings and acknowledging our many blessings. And we sing the song, I Am So Blessed, and today we get to have 2 rows coming up the middle aisle and going down the side. Just want to make sure you're paying attention as we change things up. And know that we're grateful and we sing our song, I Am So Blessed. Make sure to receive your affirmation. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. As you're comfortable, we're singing and walking. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. 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 I am all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. She already has it. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. And thank you all for your kind hearts. I gave Jan her special gift before the service. Many people wanted to make sure you got yours, just so you know. She did. And so we bless the gifts We know that they're pressed down, shaken together, and they roll over to do the will and the work of all that is ours to do here at Unity of Hilton Head. We are grateful. We are so grateful. And so you have your bulletin, yes? We will be having our elections. So we have, I told you last week that Jim has moved on to getting a different job, and so he has stepped off and away from the candidates for the board. And so is Nancy Harris here, Susan and Bev? Can you stand? So these are our candidates. Look around. And we have 2 positions available. So we will be sending, all of you who are voting members, thank you guys, will be getting an email from me this week on the 14th, which is 10 days out from and you'll have all of their information and all of that. If some of you think you are a member and you don't know, I'm your girl to check with and see. And we know next year there'll be another person for you to check with. I affirm that. Because you'll sign in and all of those things. And Mary Lou is our parliamentarian, and we are so grateful ahead of time for all that she helps me with. So the last and the final class for Judaism is this Thursday at 4 o'clock here, and with Rabbi Bloom. Next week, if you are so feeling inclined, I will be doing vow renewals, commitment renewals, whatever. And if you'll sign up, then I'll call you this week and we'll figure out what that looks like. I don't just make them up. I talk with you and then create them for each of you as well. All right, so let me know. The 17th also at noon, back in here, the Congregation Beth Yam is having a free event that they've invited us to. There is a flyer out on the table, and it's Ambassador David, and Michael's going to come up and give us a quick announcement on that. Yes, Michael, can you? Please, because I forget who he is. He's ambassador to something.
So it's David Edelman. He's was the ambassador to Singapore, Republic of Singapore, for a number of years. I guess it was under the Obama administration. So he's back in the States. His parents are members of Congregation Beth Yam, and he comes occasionally and talks. This is the men's club from Beth Yam, which is sponsoring the event. He'll be here and be talking about Asia and what's going on over there and what the future may hold. So it's going to be right here in the sanctuary, 12 o'clock noon. Feel free to attend, no cost. Hopefully we'll see you then. Okay.
Thank you. And if you want to know what else is happening here that we're not sponsoring, but that the Congregation Beth Yam is, go on their website. Michael is the one who makes that happen, and so we're grateful for that. In the fellowship area today, we're going to have Susan, yes, is going to be walking around, and Gabby with make sure that we have your current information and all of that, and then we'll print one out at next month probably and give it to you all. So only share the information you want us to share with each other. We don't use it for anything else. Nobody else uses it for anything else either. All right, and that's the scoop. You have that, you take it home, because we need to now stand and across the aisles, yes. We're going to have our prayer for protection and then our peace song. And then I'm going to invite you all to swiftly exit the sanctuary as we disengage ourselves from it, and then we allow in the Judaism school that has service right after us. Okay? So make your way down the welcome table, sign up for what you might need, and get a prayer, and then go in and have something to eat. All right, together, please. Let's see. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are. All right. One of my churches had a hearing impaired child, and so we did sign language. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was never
No. I don't know. I'm taking the basket with the money.
All right, you take that.
That's my. Oh, I did. I wondered if anybody was going to give back the 10. Somebody did.
There you go. Well, they did it.
Anything I can help with?
This was never turned on. Why not?
Right. I think there's stuff to put in there. We have the table. All right. Voila. You didn't say voila.
Where's Therese?
Oh, there were 2 of these.
The other one I took down already, but I left it by the door over there because there was.
I don't exactly know what to do with this. You know what? It's, I guess I should bring it out into the hall. I know that was one of the.
How do you take this off? I don't know how to take this off.
I don't know if it's still recording. Looks like you go, hold on to the phone. Maybe like that.
Oh.
I don't want to break it.
Can you take the phone off? I don't know how to take it off. No power? Is that why it's freezing in here?
No,
Can you know how to take the phone off?
we actually do a